Hey guys, what is up? Today we're going to be talking about WWE, and man, is it not all good in WWE today. Man, their lowest number in 18 years this past Monday Night Raw. That is insane. Oh my god. I mean, I've stopped watching Raw and SmackDown. I just gave up on the product like a year ago. And, I kind of keep in track with what's going on from little clips here and there, podcasts and such. But, I mean, this is just insane. I mean, this company has to just get their stuff together. This is ridiculous. I mean, I understand that the roster is quite thin right now. They're kind of just reduced to working with little to nothing because of all the injuries. And one of the biggest problems, I think, is that right now, this proves how weak the overall roster is of the company. Because you look at the company and you look at who they have on the roster right now, and who can really make this company get out of this ratings drop that they're in right now? Certainly not Sheamus. We know that for sure now. Sheamus as champion is certainly not pulling the needle. Roman Reigns is still kind of polarizing as far as people loving him and liking him, so it's a little bit too soon to try and put him as a champion without too much resentment. You still got Brock Lesnar. John Cena's out filming a reality TV show. Seth Rollins is out for a while. Cesaro's out. Tyson Kidd's out. Who are you left with? I mean, you have Alberto Del Rio, but I mean, he's turned ice cold since he's returned. What do you have? I mean, people don't want to see Big Show and Mark Henry anymore, so they're out. The Brothers of Destruction, they've kind of ran their course. Undertaker can't really go much more longer, and people really don't want to see Kane all that much more longer. It really just kind of exposes that the company has done so little to make stars that they find themselves in a very, disastrous situation, where they're trying everything, or at least assuming they're trying everything to make their ratings better, but it seems like they're trying nothing to make their ratings better. I mean, I wasn't surprised that Sheamus became the champion, but, I just hope that they didn't do it, because Sheamus, no one likes Sheamus, no one cares about Sheamus. I mean, I don't hear anyone clamoring that, oh my god, Sheamus won the championship. I gotta tune in. No one cares about Sheamus, and no one certainly cares about a match between Sheamus and Roman Reigns, and no one wants to see a feud between those two. It's just not something people want to see. I don't want to see it, and I certainly know most of you guys don't want to see it either. And it's just really kind of sad that WWE has done so little to make stars when they have stars in the company, like Adrian Neville, Tyler Breeze, Dolph Ziggler to an extent, Dean Ambrose, Rusev. They have stars, but the problem is they haven't made those stars into the stars that they can be, if that makes sense. And, I don't believe that they're intentionally trying to make these guys, I don't think they're intentionally trying to not make stars. It's just that the way they're making them is so select that it's really, when there's injuries like this, like when you have Seth Rollins out, who was the main heel, that leaves your main heel spot open. And then when you have someone like John Cena gone on the babyface side, that leaves a huge babyface spot open. But the thing is, no one's there that can really step into those positions. There really isn't, besides probably Brock Lesnar, someone who can step into that top heel role. And there's really no one that can step up to that top babyface role that John Cena's in. And to me, it's just really, really, really ridiculous that it takes their ratings dropping this far for them to actually start being concerned about something. Because to me, I don't care how much viewership is up, I would still want to make sure that I have stars in this company, because you always need to have a plan A, B, and C, and possibly a D, especially with something like wrestling where people get hurt all the time. Cesaro's out for injury, Seth Rollins is out for injury, Tyson Kidd's out for injury, John Cena's out filming, Daniel Bryan isn't cleared and may not never be cleared. I guess you could say they tried to build a Wyatt family, but look at the Wyatt family. They got squashed by two 40-year-olds who are probably going to be retiring soon. So what does that say about them? These four men of destruction wiped out by two people who are almost 50 years old and one that collapsed after 3 matches. You know, that doesn't build them at all. That makes them look like a joke. 4 guys who are these big monster heels taken out by 2 dudes who are almost 50 years old and broken down and been in the company for 25 to 19 years. That does nothing to help them. So, WWE finds themselves in this position where they're having to really try and make their stars. But at the moment, I don't see them trying that hard. I mean, they're obviously trying to make Roman Reigns big. Dean Ambrose is big on his own. Sheamus, I mean, people just don't care about Sheamus. No one wants to see him. No one cares that he's champion, and no one cares that he's probably even on the roster still. And, what really made me intrigued about this whole WWE ratings drop is that one of WWE's biggest draws back in the day, Mick Foley, said that he's close to becoming a former fan of this product. Think about that. A man who worked for this company for years upon years, who was put into their Hall of Fame, made tons of money. He was, their poster child at times for the Attitude Era. He's almost done with their product because it's such a lackluster and horrible written show nowadays. It's just dreadful. And that third hour is killing them now. This third hour that they have is just, it's murder. It's murder to the show because you can maybe fill 2 hours of good wrestling and good promos, but that third hour is just obvious that they have nothing for it. And they just have to put these long, obnoxious, boring, monotonous promos that no one cares about in there. And it makes the show horrible. SmackDown had one of its lowest ratings, I think, this week or a week before. But no one really watches SmackDown anyways. But I digress. It's really sad. It's just really sad where WWE finds themselves in because it didn't have to be like this. They could have had a roster of stars, not even like top stars. I don't even have to say you're having to make them like John Cena big or Brock Lesnar big, but you could have done something with a guy like Adrian Neville, even the Kevin Owens. You could have done something with them. The New Day is mildly entertaining, but they're not really a top act or even a mid-card act. They're kind of a wherever they're needed to be in a filler spot sometimes. The Dudley Boys are there, but the Dudley Boys have lost so much momentum since they came in here. It's just like, wow. Here's 2 guys who were over as can be when they came back. Now they're just like almost ice cold and no one cares. It's just really, really, really sad on WWE's part that they find themselves in this position because it didn't have to be like this for them. They could have had a roster of stars, just, even mid-card stars that could help carry the company short term until, John Cena comes back, until they can get Brock Lesnar back on for more shows, until they can get Seth Rollins back. They could have done something like that, but they didn't. Instead, they tried to go after every traditional way. And that is, we have our set of stars that we like to use, and everyone else is just kind of there. And it really exposes them when they have their top stars like Seth Rollins and John Cena gone. It really exposes how weak their roster is. When you look at their roster right now, who can really help carry this company? I guess you could say Roman Reigns could try, but Roman Reigns is kind of a dangerous thing to do because you still have a ton of people who don't like him still, whether that's just or unjust. You have Dean Ambrose, but, is Dean Ambrose there? Tyler Breeze just debuted. He's not ready yet. Adrian Neville, they've just kind of used him as a joke. He's like, he's going to be on Main Event probably in the next 3 months. Rusev has become an absolute joke. Big Show is just wore out and washed up. People want him to retire. Mark Henry, as much as I love him, is washed up and just needs to retire. Undertaker should not be wrestling, nor should he be on this show anymore. Kane is almost at that point. You know, when you look at it, who else is left? Who can they have to really start building as a star that hasn't been too damaged to do it? You know, I mean, Kevin Owens, they don't expect him to get over past a certain point. You know, they have Cesaro out. Not that I expect them to do nothing with him, but they had all these opportunities to make something of the roster, and they didn't. And that's nothing but their fault. That is absolutely their fault. And you know what? They're not going to get canceled. You know, that's not ever going to probably happen in WWE. Unlike TNA, they're probably not going to get canceled. But what is going to happen maybe is that they're going to have a lot of fans are going to start tuning out and stop, you know, buying their pay-per-views and unsubscribing to the network, because it's a waste of our time and money to tune in every Monday to watch 3 hours of mediocre, monotonous crap. Really, I mean, it's a waste of our time to do that. We could be doing things far more better than that. We could be watching shows that are actually entertaining and are actually refreshing with good writing versus looking at 3 hours of this monotonous stuff every day. You know, instead of paying $9.99 for the network and having to watch it, having to be able to watch this on replay and watch every SmackDown and Raw, you know, we can be spending that money to Hulu or somewhere. Instead of, you know, paying $50 like some people still do, you know, they could be watching a UFC fight or something. So to me, WWE has to show their fans that they're actually trying to build their stars up, because now, right now, they're not doing anything for that. I mean, we can tell who they're trying to push. They're trying to obviously push Sheamus as a new authority boy. You know, they got Dean Ambrose, who's still hot. They got Roman Reigns. You know, Tyler Breeze, if they do him right, he can possibly be a star. You know, Rusev, he's just kind of fallen into that Great Khali, that Tensai, who was the other guy? Brodus Clay type of spot where they tried to build him up as this monster, and it just flopped. I mean, when was the last time Rusev was in anything meaningful? You know, I mean, he's a joke now. Dolph Ziggler, people have probably given up on. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point they're never going to do anything big with him. You know, so to me, it's just really sad. I know I've said that a lot throughout this whole, you know, podcast, but it's just really, really sad. It's just sad that the company has went to the point that they are. And, you know, I hope that they do get better, because I don't want WWE to start dropping ratings lower and lower. I actually want them to have high ratings. I actually want to tune in every week. But at the moment, I am not interested at all to even see a 2-minute clip of what they're, you know, what's on their website. And, you know, maybe they'll do something and they'll shock us and actually make the product interesting. But at the moment, it's just not. So, guys, that's my little, I guess you could say, overview of WWE right now. If you like what you heard, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you later.